What is up, guys? This is Andy Hewling. So I'm back with another Hewling Sports Report, and we're going to talk about the week 1 of college football. It is back finally after a long wait over the summer. We are back rolling in it's week 1, and there's a lot of big matchups and also storylines we're going to talk about. So let's jump into the news of the off season, and then we'll get into some of the games for week 1. Okay, so going on in the offseason, we had things like Ohio State's investigation. That was really poorly handled. I'm glad that Urban Meyer got suspended for the actions of his assistant coach. That should never have gone on. I think Ohio State did what they had to do, and it was done correctly, but to a certain extent. I think we could go on and on about it, but I think what's done is done, and it's good that Meyer was suspended for 3 games. Also, in other news, we have who's going to start quarterback at Alabama, Tua or Jalen? I don't know who, but we're going to post on Instagram. I'm going to make a poll and see who you think should start, and we'll do that, so be looking out for that. But my guess is that I think Jalen will start. Why? Because I believe that he is a senior, and Tua played one half of the national title game. And look, it was very impressive. I mean, it's amazing that a freshman came in there and won the whole game for him, but it doesn't make him mature enough to play quarterback. I think he needs some more time. Jalen will be moving on soon, and then Tua will be the starter next year. I mean, it's that simple. I think Alabama needs to keep the more experienced quarterback on the field. I mean, if Tua starts, great, but I think Alabama would be better off with a veteran on the team starting over the sophomore. So, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. Okay, let's do week 1 predictions for college football right now. All right, the first game we have is Michigan facing off against Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. This is going to be a huge game because it's not only a top 15 matchup, but it's a huge game because it's a rivalry. Michigan and Notre Dame go way back, and it's always been a huge game between both teams. And I think Michigan will come out with this win. It would be an upset only because they're playing in Notre Dame, and that's a tough place to play. But also, I think Shea Patterson will be the X factor in this game. He's got a great arm, great quarterbacking abilities, and I think Jim Harbaugh will make him into a really, really good player this season, and he's going to be a star for their team. And then the next game we have is Miami facing off in Dallas, Texas against LSU, and I think LSU will come up with the upset win. And I know you're saying why, and I'm saying because they're LSU. And I think LSU, they may not have the strongest team. And yes, they lost both of their transfer quarterbacks, which is interesting. And I know you're wondering, like, why is he picking them? But I think LSU's defense will keep them in this game. And they're playing not far from home, so they'll have a pretty good crowd. And I think LSU will get the win. So I think that's a big upset pick, and I think it's going to happen. And in Miami's case also, they've been really vulnerable to a lot of games where they probably should have won, but they lost. And I think this game will be kind of a trap game for them at the start of the season. Okay, so the next game is Alabama versus Louisville. And, of course, as I said earlier, we're wondering who's going to start, Tua or Jalen. It's been such a crazy quarterback race in Alabama. And I don't think it even matters, really. They can put either one on the field, and Alabama's going to win this game. I think their defense will show up. Louisville may trouble them first quarter or so, but that's about it. Alabama will win. Now, the next game we have is Monday Night Football, actually, is Florida State hosting Virginia Tech in another top 15 matchup. And I think the Hokies will walk into Tallahassee and they'll get the win. I like the way Virginia Tech played last year, and I think they're ready for a good season this year. And I think the Hokies will get a good start to the season and get a win against Florida State. And the last game we have is the game that I will be going to and attending as Auburn versus Washington. And it's a huge game, top 10 matchup. Auburn looking to beat Washington, who made the college football playoff only a couple years ago. and I believe that Auburn will get the win. Now, look, I know it sounds very biased and all, but I promise you, Auburn's defense will keep them in the game. Jarrett Stidham is going to be a big-time playmaker this season, and I believe he'll do just enough to get the win. It'll be a really close game. Jake Browning is a good quarterback for Washington. He's got a lot of athletes out there that can play ball, and I think it's going to be a really, really close game. But Auburn will come out with the win, and they'll get a good start to their season beating a top 5 opponent. That's going to do it for me for this week 1 college football preview. Don't forget, I will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm going to be on the field filming for Eagle Eye TV, but I'll have some behind-the-scenes footage and coverage of the game. While I'm not filming, I'll just show you what all we do. It's really cool. So be looking out for that if you follow me on Instagram or on Snapchat. If you don't follow me, I have my usernames on my channel, so go check it out there, and you can find me on both those social medias. But that's going to do it for me, so I'll see you next week for College Football Week 2 preview.